The Hobgoblin has gone by many identities, but the original and most well-known would be Roderick Kingsley, a rich fashion designer with many enemies. He built his criminal empire through ties with various criminals and many unethical practices. He first began his rise to becoming a supervillain when an associate tipped him off about one of the secret lairs of the Green Goblin. Kingsley grew entertained with the idea of becoming a costume criminal, and modifying the Green Goblin suit and his weapons to his liking, Hobgoblin was born. Using leftover information found in Norman Osborn's notes, Kingsley was able to blackmail key characters including J. Jonah Jameson and Harry Osborn. Eventually, this obviously led to Spider-Man getting involved. Not being able to compete with the web-slinger's enhanced abilities, Roderick began experimenting on an upgraded strength-enhancing formula, comparable to the one that Norman Osborn used without the side effects. Though not wanting to be a guinea pig in his own experiments, he began testing on a small-time criminal, Arnold Donovan. Kingsley had Donovan take on Spider-Man disguised as the Hobgoblin, where eventually he forced Donovan's glider to crash, killing him. Happy with the results of the experiment, he tested the formula on himself, where he even surpassed the original Green Goblin in strength. This is around the time where a reporter, none other than Ned Leeds, followed Kingsley back to his lair and discovered the identity of the Hobgoblin. This gave Kingsley a new idea. Roderick brainwashed Ned Leeds through hypnosis to believe that he himself was the Hobgoblin. Using this new strategy, he had Leeds commit many crimes, and used them in his plots to attempt to overthrow the Fisk Empire. The plot failed, and Jack-o'-lantern was hired to assassinate the Hobgoblin. Realizing that the Hobgoblin couldn't be defeated hand-to-hand, Jack-o'-lantern had to ponder different possibilities. Kingsley, realizing that he might be caught, he leaked information about Ned Leeds in order to save himself. Unfortunately for Leeds, Kingsley went to great lengths to frame him as the real Hobgoblin. This eventually led to Ned Leeds' death at the hands of the Foreigner's men, hired by Jack-o'-lantern. With no suspicion of being the Hobgoblin, and being satisfied with his earnings, Kingsley retired to Belize. Now back in New York, Jack-o'-lantern donned the title of Hobgoblin, eventually getting arrested. This enraged Kingsley, who returned once more as Hobgoblin. His first act was to murder Jack-o'-lantern for being an unworthy Hobgoblin. He then kidnapped Betty Brant, Ned Leeds' widow, in an attempt to draw out Spider-Man. A battle broke out and Kingsley was ultimately unmasked and imprisoned. But not for long, as the Green Goblin is revealed to be alive. The Green Goblin broke Kingsley out of prison and provided him with his Hobgoblin gear. Kingsley and another Green Goblin, scientifically created by Osborn, were sent on a mission to recover one of Norman's old journals. As it turns out, there was no notebook, and all of Kingsley's empire was taken from him by Norman Osborn. A savage battle between all three goblins took place. Eventually, the building they were fighting on collapsed, and it was presumed that Kingsley had perished. In reality, he faked his death and finally returned to the Caribbean a very rich man.